Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Man, I am having a day and a half today, let me tell you. First of all, when I tried recording this podcast, it took me a while to set up because I couldn't find my microphone. And then I realized it was plugged in and ready to go for filming. So I don't know where the other half of my brain is right now. And I've been trying to start recording for some time, but my back neighbor, like the neighbor that lives behind me, selfishly decided to clean up his backyard. So right now I've got lots of chainsaws and trees coming down and, all sorts of fucking shit, and it's banging against our I can't wait any longer. So I apologize if you can hear anything. If not, all good. It's sweet. But yeah, just wanted to say I've had a fucking day and a half. So I have an interesting recommendation for you guys this week. It's kind of like half a recommendation, and you'll see why in a second. So everywhere at the moment when I say everywhere, TikTok, right? That's the only place I live. This movie came out in February, but is obviously going viral and everybody's watching it and, well spoken about. So it is called The Girl in the Basement. Yes, I'm sure you've heard about it. If you're into crime documentaries, if you're into true stories or anything like that, you've probably heard about it. Now, jump back a few years. Like I said, this is based on a true story. So I remember watching the true story documentary. Like, there's heaps of documentaries about the real story on like YouTube and stuff. And it's about Josef Fritzel, who's a real person. And he kidnaps, I suppose, or like holds his daughter against her will, holds her hostage. I don't know what you would call it. He holds her in a dungeon for like, I think it's 24 years or something ridiculous like that. So she's kept like in the basement in a specifically designed space where she can't get out. It's soundproof. It's horrendous, right? Like disgusting living environment and just obviously not good. But the other horrific thing that she experienced the other horrific thing that she experienced is she was raped by her own father and actually gave birth to 7 of his children, which is just, I mean, for what this girl went through. And I'm pretty sure she was 18 when she was taken down to the basement. So, for it all to just fucking turn around for her was just awful. And if you watch the documentary, like it's fucking heart-wrenching. But now that they've made a movie about it, I'm dying to watch it. So this is where I'm going with my story, right? So it was released in America, and apparently it's not available in Australia. Fucking how convenient, right? So I'm like, I can't have this. Like, I've seen the documentary. This is right up my alley. I need to see this movie. Like, I am willing to do whatever it takes to see this movie. So this is about a week ago, I was made aware of this movie that came out, The Girl in the Basement. I was like, great. So I Googled, like, I don't mind paying for it. I Googled it. Where can I watch The Girl in the Basement? It gave me 2 options. My first option, Amazon Prime. Fantastic. There is an Amazon Prime for Australia. So I think what they show you, similar to Netflix, depending on where you live in the world, you are only allowed to view certain content. So, of course, it's not available in Australia. So I was like, that's all good. I'm going to have, what are they called? Let's have a look. Is it a VPN? NVP and VPN, where you can like change your IP address and it's like privacy and all that shit. So I managed to get my hands on, like, I downloaded a VPN for my computer. I actually don't know if that's legal. If it's not, you didn't hear it from me. But I managed to get a VPN for my computer, and I changed my location to America so that it recognized the IP on my computer as like an American IP address, right? So I was like, all good. So I logged back into Amazon Prime, and it automatically was like, oh, you're in America. Cool. And the girl in the basement popped up, and I was like, yes, I'm so smart. This is amazing. I got all the way to where you can choose, like, do you want to buy it or rent it? I was like, fucking rent it. No worries. Like, put my details in, put my card details in. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to watch this. And then the next page is like, this authorization has been cancelled. We know that your card is from Australia, bitch. And I was like, no. I went all the way to put a VPN on my computer so I can change my IP address. And they recognized my debit card as an Australian debit card. So I was like, fuck, that's annoying. So I was like, okay, I can't give up, right? Like, you don't give up. You got to pursue your passions. So I was like, what are my other options? I went on to Lifetime, which is the other platform that they are streaming or like selling The Girl in the Basement. That sounds weird. Selling the movie, The Girl in the Basement. So I log into Lifetime, same thing. I get all the way to, like, do you want to rent or buy? And blah, blah, blah. Yes, select The Girl in the Basement. Fuck, like, this is so exciting. Like, I'm so smart. I'm so excited. The next page is choose which viewing platform you'd like to watch this movie. And that just means, like, do you want to watch it on like through your Netflix account? Do you want to watch it on Hulu? And it came up with all these other platforms, and they were all American. Like, the only one I had heard of is Hulu. So I was like, fuck, this is not going well. So I was like, okay, I don't have any of these accounts. Let me create a Hulu account. So I did, created a Hulu account. And then I went to create a Hulu account. Turns out, for some reason, you're not allowed a Hulu account if you live in Australia. So I was like, what the fuck? Now I can't even make a Hulu account to log into to watch Girl in the Basement through Lifetime. Like, why is there so many fucking rabbit holes? I was like, I am a person who's trying to pay you money to watch this movie that I'm dying to see, and you're not letting me. On top of that, it's advertised everywhere. When I say advertised, like, people are talking about it on TikTok. I'm like, this is just not fair. Like, all these people are watching it and rating it and talking about it. And I'm sitting here in safe little Australia where we're not allowed to be exposed to any naughty stuff. All I want to do is watch this true story. Fuck. So I've run out of options. If an IP address doesn't work, I don't know what will. I think I need to reach out to my American connections and my American friends and say, hey, look, you're either going to have to give me your Hulu login and your credit card details and I will pay you money. I need to watch this movie. Like, I'm going to extreme extents here. And I even put like a story on my Instagram, like, somebody please that's watched this from Australia, please tell me how. Like, none of the streaming links on YouTube work. Like, I'm dying over here and it's really stressing me out. I don't know why I'm so committed to seeing this movie, but I am. So if you guys have seen it and you live in Australia, please tell me. Anyway, that's it's my recommendation. If you can find it, I highly recommend it. If you can't watch the movie, watch the documentary. Like I said, it's fucking awful. It's a true story. Her identity is completely safe. Like, I don't think anybody knows except for her name because of the story and what she went through. But I think she's in like a psych ward still, like with her children. I've seen little snippets about that, but the only image and footage they have of her is like a family photo. That's the only thing I've seen of her. So she must have had her identity changed, and for fucking good reasons. Like, what she went through is horrific. And the documentary goes into detail and it tells the whole story, but I think it's just cool, like, watching a movie about it because you can kind of watch it playing out in real time. So, you know, if you're into crime documentaries like I am, get onto it. So just type in Josef Fritzel on YouTube. The one I watched was from Real Stories, on YouTube, and it was great. But there is so many documentaries about it. So jump on in there. Half a recommendation because I haven't actually seen the movie. But go on a hunt. I'm sending you all out on a hunt. And if you can figure it out, please tell me. Help a sister out. Okay. Today I want to do an episode on catfishing or being catfished, whatever you want to call it. So, funny story, I did put out a couple of questions on some of my social media platforms wanting to hear from you guys about any catfishing stories you've experienced. Have you been a catfish? Hopefully not. Have you, gone through this process? And I got a few stories and my fucking God, they are crazy. But I have had my own catfishing experience. I've been catfished. I am, yes, very naive and gullible, desperate for attention and connection, as I think everybody that is catfished is, bless our socks. But I wanted to tell my story. I don't know why I wanted to talk about it. I think it's entertaining. Plus, I don't know. I think it should be a warning as to what's out there. And I think like if we were to think about it in like a dark and mysterious kind of way, for safety purposes, catfishing I think can go bad. Like, think about the dangers out there of strangers on the internet and like what can happen to you if you met up with someone and it wasn't them, right? So I think like we can laugh about it, and there's some funny stories, not funny at the time, but we can look back on my stories and laugh now because I'm not experiencing it. But I think there can be a little bit of a warning episode of what's out there and do you trust people online and blah, blah, blah. So we can go down that route. Okay, so I do actually have a couple of different catfishing experiences, but I'll focus on one that carried on for so fucking long and it was just ridiculous. This did happen when I was 17 and I'm now 28, so I obviously don't remember like the vivid details or the complete storyline. So forgive me if it's a bit jumpy or choppy or I have to fill in the blanks, but you get the general feeling of what the hell went on. And I'd like together for us to try and understand why the fuck this happened and why people do this to other people. Like, why catfish? Like, why? I don't get it. Okay, so I've never actually looked up the meaning of catfishing before. This is what the internet says. The process of luring someone into a relationship by means of a fictional online personality or persona. That's crazy. That's very accurate. So yeah, pretty much to summarize, you talk to someone online or the phone or whatever it is and they lead you to believe that they are a specific person, and turns out they're not. They're liars. It's just awful. Like, some people go as deep as to make up families they have and jobs and like different ages, in some cases completely different genders. That's what happened to me. And you can see where it can get quite dangerous if you use your imagination. But I was lucky enough that, I wasn't in any type of danger, I think. But yeah, so the story, I actually cannot for the life of me, I was trying to figure it out. I can't for the life of me remember how I came to quote unquote meet this person, because obviously it wasn't a real person. But I mean, like, how did I come in contact with them? I think I was friends with this girl. I'm going to call her Susan because I don't want to say her real name. She's a not a very nice person, but I'm going to call her Susan just for liability reasons. So Susan and I had known each other already. We were some friends, whatever you want to call it. I met her through one of my other friends. Now, she was older than us to the point where we were 17 and she would be the person that would get us alcohol. I don't condone underage drinking, by the way, but this is just a story. We would just hang out. We'd have like just people over our house, or she would drive us around everywhere. This was also a big thing. We didn't have cars or driver's licenses, so she thought she was cool, like that cooler person that was driving around 17-year-olds. Looking back on it now, probably taking advantage of us in some way, shape or form. But whatever, Maybe we were using her too, but 17-year-olds, what are you going to do about it? So I actually don't know. This is probably a crucial part of the story, but I cannot remember how I got this contact from her, right? I think it was through her. So anyway, boy meets girl online, myself, and I can't fucking remember his name. I think it was Matt. We started talking. Now, back in my day, when I was at school, Facebook had only just come out. Like, Facebook wasn't a big thing like it is today. We were still on MySpace. All the 90s kids, shout out, early 90s kids. So it was harder. It was easier to be catfished because it wasn't, social media is not what it is now, right? There's not like history of photos and all that shit. It was very different. Like, I'm not fucking 80 years old or anything, but it was different. So it was mostly texting. As opposed to like social media kind of stuff. So think about how easy that would have been via text messages, right? So yeah, texting back and forth, getting to know each other. It was a lot of impressive stuff from his end, right? To one point, it was, I just got accepted into the Waffle, so which in WA is like the WA footy, like football league, like on your way to the big leagues, right? So I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking fancy. And I even told my dad about it at the time, and he was like, that kind of sounds too good to be true. And in my head, I was like, you don't know anything, Dad, shut up. Like, he's so cool. Because once they got you twiddled around their finger, it's like, of course he's capable of those amazing things. I can't remember the extent to what our conversations were like, but just picture like a 17-year-old girl, had gone through her fair share of heartbreak, just wanted like someone to be nice to her and give her attention and blah, blah, blah. So, hey. So I got all of those things from him. He would send me good morning messages. He would send me good night text messages. Pretty much tell me everything I wanted to hear. He would compliment me all the time, butter me up, all this shit. And to the point where he was saying to me that he was friends with Susan, so he would talk her up a lot as well. Like, yeah, we've been great friends for this long. I'm pretty sure he even said, like, we used to have this thing, but now we don't anymore, and we're just really good friends. Like, it kind of put me in an awkward situation as well, right? I was friends with Susan, and I was like, this is weird. Why are we talking? But just, it was a lot of talking Susan up as well about how fantastic Susan is. But then when I would catch up with Susan and she'd be driving us around or whatever, she'd be like, oh, Matt talks about you all the time. He's so smitten for you, blah, blah, blah. Like, reinforcing that I'm on a good track with this person and should keep talking to him. And I remember specifically one time, obviously didn't find this out till later, but I was at Susan's house and I'd stayed the night, and like she was in her bed and I was on the floor, like on a mattress. And I was texting Matt, but it was actually Susan texting me, like right next to me. And it's like, you have to, like, nowadays, if you don't speak to someone or see someone, at least jump on Zoom. It's like, this is way too sus, right? Like, why haven't I met you yet? Or why can't I see you in person? But back then, first of all, 17 years old. Second of all, like I said, Zoom wasn't a fucking thing. Like, I don't have a license, so it's not like I'm going to drive and meet him for coffee somewhere. Or, even Facebook wasn't a thing. Like, give me your social handles and let me look at your Instagram feed, or send me a Snapchat. Like, none of that shit was a thing back then. So looking back on it with what we have today, it would have been like, well, how the fuck did you not know you were being catfished? But back then, we didn't have any of that stuff, right? So, very naive, very gullible. And I think, like I said, I just wanted that fucking attention. Like, it was nice to just have someone to talk to, someone to text and blah, blah, blah. And it was, I don't remember the exact excuses, but every time I was like, oh, I can't wait to meet you. Or like, like, I'm catching up with Susan this weekend. Are you going to be there? And for a lot of the time, he would say, yeah, 100%, like Susan invited me to her party, like I'm going to be there, I can't wait to meet you. And this would happen constantly. And then like right before it was time to meet, he would have an excuse or drop out or whatever it was, and I would never ever meet him. And at the time I was just like, oh, that sucks, like sorry that came up for you, or damn, like next time. At no point was I like, this is fucking sus. You know, you just don't think about that shit when you're fucking 17. You're naive to the world around you. So, I remember at school one day, I remember specifically how it ended, not how it started or how it went during the time, but how it ended is very clear in my mind. I remember being at school. I was like in senior year, right? Like graduating that year. I don't know why that's important. I just thought I'd say that. So I remember on a lunch break, I was sitting and talking to two of my girlfriends, and I was telling them about Matt. I was like, yeah, I've been talking to this guy for like months. This had gone on for maybe like four or 5 months. Like it was a long fucking time. It wasn't just like it was a week or something. So I was heavily invested, like emotionally, and I'm a very loyal person. Like if I like someone, I'm not talking to anybody else, like no other boys. I'm like, I really like you. You, I'm assuming, really like me. Like I'm very loyal. I don't like, have never had multiple people that I talk to at once or whatever it is. Like once I like someone, I'm like, I'm going to give you all of my attention and I'm invested, which is why it was very disappointing how it turned out. So yeah, I was telling the girls, like I've been seeing, in my mind we were seeing each other. Oh my God, poor 17-year-old Jade. I've been seeing this guy, like telling him about all these amazing accomplishments. Like he's so sweet. Look at these text messages he's been sending me and blah, blah, blah. Also, I was getting photos. Like that's something I should mention, is I was getting photos. He was blonde. He was my age. And yeah, like just fit. It wasn't like a manly, like older man fucking 6-pack body or anything. It was like a 17-year-old boy's body, right? Nothing sexual. There was no like sexual pictures. There was, however, flirting and, you know, I wouldn't say like sexting, but leading to that. And that's very uncomfortable to say because I was 17 years old. So yeah, that's fucking creepy. But yeah, I was telling them about him, like showing photos, and my friend just went, no way. I was like, what's going on, tell me. She's like, tell me how you know Matt. And I was like, oh, through Susan, because the girls I was talking to at school, that's how I met Susan. Remember, she's older than us, so she doesn't go to school with us. But that's how I was introduced to Susan, through the girls that I was talking to at school. So yeah, that's how it happened. And I was talking to the girls at school and they said, babe, Susan did this same thing to us like 6 months ago or whatever it was. And I was like, what do you mean did the same thing to you? What are you talking about? And she said, Matt is not real. Like, it's Susan. Susan, is the person that has been messaging you. And I was like, no. Like, I've been with Susan while I was messaging Matt. Like, it's not the same person. I was like, have you ever been in the same room as Matt? Have you ever met Matt, first of all? I was like, no. Have you ever been in the same room as Matt and Susan? I was like, no. She's like, okay. We're going to confront her. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I promise you she did the same thing to us. I can't believe she's still doing it. She was caught by us. I wish you had told me, like I would have told you ages ago that he's not real, blah, blah, blah. So fast forward to the end of the school day. My friend at school had messaged Susan to be like, hey, do you want to come like meet us at school? After school, like just come see us. We'll meet you at the gate or whatever. Like we just hang out, like drive us to the shops or something. And Susan, being the lonely, desperate, preying on children person she is, obviously had nothing to do in her afternoon. So of course she came to school, met us at the gate, and I can't remember exactly what my friend from school said, but she said something like, oh, so when's Jade going to meet Matt or something like that. And obviously Susan's fucking face went white, like, fuck. Because remember, she did the same thing to my friend at school. She was like, fuck, like, you've told Jade. And I was really upset. I didn't say anything. We just stood there, and she didn't get out of her car. Like, we were speaking to her like through a fence at school. So she was in her car on one side of the fence, and we were inside school on the other side of the fence, if that makes sense. And that sounds so creepy, like, thinking back. But she sat in her car, and I remember her just getting really pissed off. You know, when like someone that's done something wrong, they get caught and they get super defensive and like aggressive. And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, whatever. What are you putting in Jade's head and blah, blah, blah. Like, don't listen to her. And I was like, okay, but like, let me talk to Matt then. Like, I'll call Matt right now. Because remember, it was obviously off her phone, like a different number, but off her phone. I was like, let me call him right now then. And she's like, nah, like, I think he's at work and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, it would have gone to her phone. So she got really pissed off and like reversed out and sped off. And I never, ever heard from her again. She literally ghosted me. Thank fuck. But just ghosted me. And when you find out the person you've been speaking to for months like does not exist, it's like you're so embarrassed and you're so, how does this happen? Like, how do I go through life for this many months of my life not knowing that this person wasn't real? Like, again, at that age, you don't understand red flags. You don't understand what's going on. You just like the attention and the connection. And then you start playing back every interaction, every text message, every conversation you've had to Susan about Matt, like personal and private conversations like that I said to Matt, Susan would have known about. And I think luckily I'm a loyal person, and because I'm pretty sure she was fishing for shit as well. Like Matt would say like, oh, how are you and Susan? Like, do you like Susan? Do you guys get along? So it's like, you know, just putting me in really shit situations. And I was so upset. I was like, why would someone do this? And it just made it worse that she was so much older than us. And I just felt like taken advantage of. And it's super fucking embarrassing, right? And I tried to understand like why it's easy to be catfished, like from my point of view. So again, it's the connection, it's the attention, it's you just want to be treated well. And I'm a very like monogamous person. Like I like that connection with people. So I just think like I attach myself to people very quickly. But then I tried to think of the other end of the spectrum. Like, why would someone catfish someone else? And I couldn't fucking answer that. I was like, I don't know. Are they lonely? Do they need to feel in control? Do they do they get off almost on like manipulating people? And I don't know what it is. Like, it's obviously they're not well because no normal person takes pleasure on like ruining someone's life like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, not ruining my life. She didn't ruin my life, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how does someone get off on doing that to someone? I really couldn't understand it. And yeah, I don't know why I wanted to tell that story, but I really did. And if you guys want to know more, I think it's just hilarious. Like, as I got older, I knew about the show Catfished, right? Like, it's an actual show. And what's his name that is the host? Hang on. Yeah, so the host, Nev Schulman, one of the guys that is a host and like created the show, he was catfished himself, and then he made the show Catfished to help people like find out that who they're talking to isn't real, and you know, help them connect to these fucking weirdos and blah blah blah. So I found that show and I was like, holy shit, like this is kind of common. And like, I can't imagine like how many people spend like, imagine spending years, like if you're in a vulnerable state and you want that connection and you want to be with someone and you're desperate and you can't find anyone else. So you settle for having an online relationship for years. And I noticed on that show, some of these conversations and relationship had gone on for years and they'd never seen the supposed partner And like even today, like a lot of people's excuses were, oh, my Zoom doesn't work, or my camera's broken, or, FaceTime doesn't work, or whatever it is. Because back then, none of that was a thing. Like I don't even think iPhones were a thing. I'm pretty sure like they were, but they were shit. So no one thought of like FaceTime and stuff. So I can't imagine how hard it would be to be a catfish these days. But you can see why it would be dangerous for some people, right? Like, it makes me cringe. Like the stuff I said to quote unquote Matt, but it was actually Susan. And like the fact that we would see her and she would talk about him. I'm like, bitch, it's you. Like you are the person. I felt so vulnerable and like taken advantage of and disgusting. I was like, this is not nice. And she obviously stopped hanging out with all of us and we all fucking hated her. But yeah, I hope she's not fucking doing it to anyone else. I do have another catfish story. I don't know if it happened before or after this. I have to find out. If it happened after, then that's just sad. I was like desperate, okay? I was lonely. Just kidding. But if you guys want to hear another story, like tell me. Post in the comments or reach out, because I do have a part 2 of my slow disappointment and being taken advantage of. But yeah, just be careful. I don't know why I wanted to tell the story. It's entertaining. You can laugh at my misery, but just be careful out there is what I'm trying to say. Like there should be red flags, especially if you're like in the dating scene or meeting people online, especially in COVID times. Fuck, didn't even think about that. Like in times around the world where you cannot leave your house and you need that connection with someone, you want to get yourself out there, be social, talk to people online. Just be careful. There should be like lists of red flags. If you can't see them on FaceTime, Zoom, or whatever it is, I actually will recommend, there's this episode on one of the podcasts I listen to. So it's Girls Gotta Eat. They actually interviewed Nez. So the guy that runs the catfishing show. They interviewed him and he gave heaps of tips on like how to find out like if there's red flags when you're talking to someone online. And they went as far as talking about if they send you a photo to say, yep, this is me, you can actually copy the photo somewhere, like in some website they gave. I can't remember what it was. And it tells you where it's from, like from a website full of like male models or whatever it is. So I like to think I'm quite a detective. And if I needed to nowadays, I'd be able to find out like this person's history. You should be able to like see what school they went to, or you should be able to see their family linked on their profile or something. Like some people go to some fucking crazy extents, right? But all I'm saying is just be careful out there. Keep an eye out for red flags. If you never speak to them, if you never see their face on a video would be a huge thing. Like not them sending you a video, but real time, like FaceTime or Zoom. If they never agree to that, that should just be a red flag. Like no matter what excuse they have, it's like, okay, but for my own safety, like I just need to know that I'm talking to someone that's real. And you could like, they may try to gaslight you or manipulate you and say, well, you should trust me. Like I thought we had this connection and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we do. But I'm looking out for myself. And if you can't handle that, then see you later anyway, right? Like I need to be safe and I want to see your face anyway. If you think we have that connection, why are we not FaceTiming, bitch? Whoop. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode. It was a little story time, I needed to get it out. You guys are my therapy, like my free counselor. So I just talk about my problems for the world to listen to. Anyway, I will, the podcast episode I'm talking about on Girls Gotta Eat is called Catfishing with Nev Schulman. So I'll leave it in the description of the podcast if you want to listen to it. He gives great advice and they ask really good questions as well. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please go check out the Josef Fritzel documentary and please tell me if you find a way to watch The Girl in the Basement in Australia. Like I will pay you to use your logins. Please send me links in my inbox. Like I'm dying here. It'll be my mission, my life's work to say that I've watched it, okay? Like, I don't know why. Now that I've got it in my head, I need it in my life. Anyway, if you guys want to connect to me or if you guys, If you guys want to connect or have a chat or, any questions about today's episode or any questions about my story, just whatever. If you want to hang out, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Jade Delpup, JadeDelpup. If you find my Facebook business page, it also has a link to the Facebook group that is specifically for this podcast. It is called the JD Remedy Let's Talk About It. It's a group, so feel free to join. It's girls only, so we can chat about everything I talk about on the podcast. I do post episodes in there, so it is just a way of connecting, asking questions about the podcast episode, and just reaching out to other girls, another little girl community to be a part of. Why not? And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next week.